The battle of the back rows is so huge this weekend. I think on paper, if you can negate Billy Vunipola, I think you've got a huge chance of stopping England in general. He's such a focal point, and you see the stat numbers of, even with Saracens, their win ratio when he's in versus when he's out, and likewise England, are absolutely staggering. So
how do you stop
goes
him?
Well, I think because he's evolved brilliantly as a player, from his ability to be a playmaker as well as destructive ball carrier and offloader. He's a very, very difficult player to play when he's going well. You have to lock that ball up and stop him from sucking in defenders and then getting it out the back door. So if you are committing to defenders, you have to leave it to them to get the job done, and everyone else fan out and mark up the support runners. Wilson's been a big hit for them in November, but pretty, I think there's uncertainty around him. Curry's got a couple of caps, a bit more of a groundhog, so it'll be interesting to see his battle with Van der Fleer. But I think that battle of the back row is so huge in the outcome of the game.
Yeah, the fact that Sam Underhill's not there for England, does that make a big difference in how you look at it?
Yeah, a bit, because he's played well with Bath, and he's very good. He was very good in that New Zealand game, obviously, but I think Curry's a really nice player, and they liked him before he got injured early in the season, and it was kind of between him and Underhill. Underhill being number one now, but I think Curry is a nice player, and if you write him off and don't think that he's up to that standard, I think you'll get a rude awakening. So the fact that he is an all-out 7, I think, will suit England, because they need that against this Irish team.
It's interesting when you're listening to any of the English-based podcasts this week, or even reading the English papers, like, there is no great love, it seems, from anybody for Eddie Jones, and even the analysis of the team selection, like, it feels like the Liverpool team of 10 years ago, with the former players who'd won everything, constantly criticising. And again today, Austin Healy looking at Elliot Daly's selection at full back and questioning the struggles he had in the November internationals under the high ball. There always seems to be somebody ready to pick at them, somebody to have a little dig at this group. That selection in particular of Elliot Daly at full back, is that something that Ireland are going to be rubbing their hands at?
Austin didn't win everything, first of all. So just for clarity,
it's important.
That's more important than any comment on Elliot Daly. Because Elliot Daly has been pretty mixed in his performances, both with Wasps and with England over the course of the last 6 months. There's a few questions as to whether he should be there. Again, is he a World Cup winning fullback? Does he do all the basics extremely well? For all his detractors, Mike Brown's skill set, he delivers a certain solidity to the backfield. He's not a great link player, but very good tackler, very good kicker, very good in the air. And
what about Andy Good?
Yeah, well, Andy Good's not going to be no good. No good. Yeah.
Sorry,
some people are obsessed with Andy Good.
my brain.
What's his name? Alex Good.
Alex Good.
Yeah,
Jeez.
he's Alex Good. For me, is obviously again a very, very exciting player. Been brilliant for Saracens, but internationally, he had a really bad game against Ireland about 4 years ago, and almost hasn't ever recovered since then. And if you wanted to be brave, you'd go with him, because he'll create for you, and particularly with Farrell, he acts as a second foil, as a first receiver when they get to midfield, rucks in particular, Farrell right, him left, and his footwork would pull apart any defence. So it's just a matter again whether he's good enough at the other parts. I think in the air there's still question marks around it, and international rugby, there's such a focus on your kick contest that you have to have someone that can rule supreme in the air, and I don't know if he's the guy. But if you were very brave and you were thinking all attack, and Andy Good would be the man for you.
I don't know at this stage. All right, yeah. You mentioned some of the comments. You mentioned some of the comments that were coming out ahead of the game, and the comments from John Mitchell in particular about that Ireland, arguably the best team in the world, well coached side, resilient. They'll try and bore the shit out of us, basically.
Yeah.
Ireland will take that as quite a compliment, because that is part of the Ireland game plan. Is they just wear you down physically, mentally. Keep going until eventually you just make a mistake. Like, that's part of the test for England, is that they don't get bored.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Ireland fans might react to that. I don't know whether Ireland react to that at all. I played with Mitch that's a long time ago, and he will try everything he can. He will throw anything into the mix he possibly can to try and get an edge. I don't know if were you there. You were there. No, you weren't.
No, it's just a year before.
98, we ended up with a load of things that were negative put on about us. And Gatland with the whole change rooms filled up with what everybody had said negative, and then a load of positive messages that had come in as well. That's important at certain times. But if we're at that emotional battle, that's where we're thinking, I think we're in the wrong place, and I don't think this team is in that place.
But that point he makes of Ireland just boring the opposition, is there something in that? Is that something actually that is part of the Irish game plan, that they will test your stamina? They will ask the question that with 20 minutes left, if you still have that sort of fight?
We're a possession-based team, aren't we? An ability to take teams through phases like nobody else. We get to 25, 30 phases quite regularly. So, if that's seen as a negative, fine, but I don't think any of the players will see it as a negative. They'll see that as a string to their bow of having that ability to, keep their fitness up, keep their skill set up, keep their focus up, and then wait for their opportunity, be it a mismatch or trying to conjure something up when, because play ultimately goes flat every so often, and then you need a phase or two phases to build it up again to then have a strike play. You can't have a strike play ruck on ruck on ruck. You just don't simply have the numbers, and you have to bide your time and pick that moment to have a go at a weak defender. So a Kyle Sinclair in the midfield, and you get a Jacob Stockdale 1-on-1. That's what being clever and patient is all about. And if that's boring, well, that's okay.